Chelsea 0, Crystal Palace 0. Oh, mate, that was a really frustrating game to watch. Welcome, Blue Believers, to another episode of the Stamford Sync, where we are syncing up with everything Chelsea FC. And I was really hoping that my coverage of the first Premier League game back against Crystal Palace was going to be a bit more of an interesting thing to talk about one way or the other. But it wasn't, right? Man, that was a really, really difficult game to watch. So, off the bat, absolutely, before I say anything else, mass amounts of credit to Crystal Palace here, man. They literally completely blunted us. So today we're going to get into first half, second half, what was going on, where we looked good, where we didn't, and player performances towards the end of it. But guys, before we do that, if you are enjoying the content and would like to see more, please do me the distinct honour of liking and sharing the video, subscribe to the channel, or just roast me in the comments, whatever gets you through your day. Oh man, so starting lineup, right? Starting lineup I was pretty close. Shout out to Behind the Dugouts, my Chelsea YouTuber friend. Had there not been an injury to Tosin Azarabia, he'd have called that 100% right. I thought we might start with Esteval Willian Bayer in mind. He played so well in pre-season, and Jamie Gittins kind of flattered to deceive a touch compared to what we were seeing from Esteval, but we went with Gittins in the starting lineup instead. So the starting lineup was Robert Sanchez in goal, Reece James on the right, which is that right back / right centre back role. Josh Achiampong coming in for the Levi Colwill Tosin role, which I thought was interesting. I'll get into that a little bit more in a minute. Trevor Chalobah as expected, and obviously Marc Cucurella completes our defence. Midfield pivot of Moise Caicedo, I've learnt that recently, Moise Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez. Attacking three of Cole Palmer in the middle, Pedro Neto on the right and Jamie Gittins on the left, and we started with João Pedro up top, which I thought made complete sense because again he's just been on fire, hasn't he? So do you know what, the first 5 to 8 minutes looked pretty good. Lots of quick passing, do you know what I mean? Obviously from the gate it looked like we were going to dominate possession. It was also quite obvious that Palace were going to sit back and look for rapid counters, because that happened fairly early in the game a couple of times, that they had a lot of men behind the ball, and when they thought they saw an opportunity they launched it up and tried to make something happen really quickly. This was a frustrating game, man. This was just such a frustrating game, and like I say, man, all credit to Crystal Palace, because their composure, their shape, their defensive, prowess, everyone's dedication from that Crystal Palace team to get back when we were in the ascension and when we had the ball, and everyone to defend and make it really, really, really difficult for us to play. Fair play Oliver Glasner, fair play Crystal Palace, because that was a really, really good performance from them, man. And the other thing you've got to give to Crystal Palace, at the end of the day, yes, Chelsea, we are coming off of really good form. We had a great pre-season, won the Club World Cup, all this, that and the other. That's wicked. But Crystal Palace have also just come off of the back of beating City in the FA Cup final, which would have really galvanised that squad, and they beat Liverpool in the Community Shield as well. So they were up for it, man. Do you know what I mean? They were up for it. Obviously, their most dangerous player looks like Eze. Throughout the game, Mateta looked all right in parts as well, but Eze was a constant thorn in our side. We found it really, really hard to get the ball off of him. What was a constant story throughout this game for me was Cole Palmer and João Pedro really, really struggled to get involved in the game at all. Cole Palmer was basically just being marked out, and João Pedro was not finding spaces and opportunities to get into good attacking positions or even to link up with people and make things happen. We were seeing a lot of Pedro Neto on the ball. We saw a fair amount of Jamie Gittins on the ball, but for the most part, what we saw on the ball was our back three, Cucurella, Moise Caicedo, and we just really, really, really struggled to play through them, and a really, really strong low block from Crystal Palace, and it was just such a struggle. It was really, really such a struggle. Obviously things looked absolutely awful when Eze scored that free kick, and it was a great free kick, gotta give him that, bang on target. Sanchez maybe could have done a little bit better for it, but we were really, really lucky that Marc Guehi, I've literally never really seen anything like this before, but Marc Guehi pushed into the wall. Like he was you got to be a meter away from the wall apparently if you're an attacking player, and we had a wall of like 3 or 4 people, and Marc Guehi kind of pushed really Moise Caicedo really, really hard into that wall, and even though the goal went in, it was ruled out. not for a supposed foul, which it looked like it might have been on Caicedo, but because he was less than a metre away from the wall when the ball was kicked. So the other thing to say about that as well is if Guehi hadn't of moved the way that he did, that space might not have been there available for Eze to get through and get the goal anyway. So fortunately for us, that was ruled out. It kind of, not straight at Sanchez, like it was a little bit to his left, I guess, or his right, but that's the only criticism I've really got of Sanchez in that game. Other than that, he did pretty well. We didn't see any of those crazy, scary moments where he didn't look like he knew what he's doing. The long passes in general. Actually, do you know what? We'll go through the second half a bit and then I'll get into player performances. Second half, just more of the same, man. To be honest, just more of the same. So shots on target were not really. I think we had like 1 or 2 shots on target, 3 shots on target in the entire game. We didn't get a single shot on target in the second half for like over half an hour. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and it just looked to be more of the same, man. It didn't look like we were necessarily trying anything particularly different. Esteval came on for Jamie Gittins as the first big change, and within a few minutes looked like he was going to make something happen, and maybe the game was going to turn around, but ultimately the game just continued to be flat and stodgy, difficult, sticky game. Chelsea really, 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 really struggled to get into this game. And yeah, man, it was just a lack of chances throughout, wasn't it? To be honest, Palace's chances in general look better than ours. Do you know what I mean? They cut through us a few times. Adam Wharton with some really good line splitting passes, and obviously Eze always looking like he was trying to create something. It's a shame. That's the only right now today is the only time that I'm disappointed that Eze hasn't already gone to Tottenham, because obviously he looks so good. Do you know what I mean? And I think if he hadn't have been there, then maybe we'd have had a bit more joy. And Mark Guehi as well. Do you know what I mean? He obviously apart from being offside or committing a foul in that free kick goal, he was a part of what was a very, very good structured defence from Crystal Palace today. So let's go through player performances and talk a little bit about how everyone did. There are some promising things to look at, and I mean, a Chelsea fan, do you know what I mean? Copium, I'm biased. I'm going to look at caveating this reasonably poor performance with the fact that they've just come back off a 10-day holiday. It's been a really, really, really long season. Lots of new signings in the squad. There are still, this isn't, oh my God, this is terrible. Dear my giddy aunt, do you know what I mean? It's not necessarily the end of the world. We really needed to open the Premier League with a winner, man. You know what I mean? But Crystal Palace was so good today as well. So, player performances. Robert Sanchez in goal. Like I said a little bit earlier, pretty good from Robert Sanchez. Good few clutch saves. Do you know what I mean? He looked confident. He didn't look like he'd been caught out at any point. The only criticism I've got of Sanchez today is a lot of wayward long balls that didn't really seem to be going to anywhere. One thing that was really difficult about watching this game in general is it was so stop-start. Do you know what I mean? The flow, and that will almost be completely by design from Crystal Palace's point of view. But the game was so stop, start, do you know what I mean? And Sanchez launching all these kind of aimless long balls that just kept ending up on the heads of Crystal Palace players and bouncing around. And you know that moment where you're watching the ball move around, but you're like, I'm not watching football here. I'm waiting for the football to start again. It really felt like that to me. So ultimately, Robert Sanchez, not a bad performance at all, do you know what I mean? A couple of really good saves. Came out quite a lot, and do you know what I mean, is getting more confident in that auxiliary, defender kind of role and hooking up with the other guys with the passing and stuff. So that was all pretty good. Did make a few attempts at those more directed long passes, especially when Liam Delap came on. But ultimately, he didn't cost us the game, which is the best you can say from a goalkeeper. Can't really ask a huge amount more from Robert Sanchez because it ended up 0-0, so he did his job. Reece James, I think he just really struggled. I think the thing is, he got a really early yellow card in this game. Do you know what I mean? And there was a moment in the end of the first half, start of the second half, where there was looking like there might be another one because he got nutmegged by Eze, and kind of accidentally took him out and instantly was like, no, it wasn't me. It wasn't a foul. Unfortunately, he got left off that. But I feel like at least Reece James's game was probably curtailed a little bit by such an early yellow card. But ultimately, he didn't play bad. Do you know what I mean? He played that right centre-back position today. He got swapped out for Gusto in the 72nd minute, something like that. No, 78 minutes, in the 78th minute. So right towards the end of the game. So he played most of it. Wasn't able to. I feel like a couple of those free kicks and stuff, maybe Reece James could have taken those as well, because he has shown to be very, very good at that sort of thing. But it didn't come off for Reece James today. He didn't have a bad game, but wasn't the difference maker. Josh Achiampong. So this is going to be a real hot topic, right? This is going to be a huge hot topic in general, the centre-back situation at Chelsea, right? Because I mentioned it in my video yesterday. Go and check that out if you haven't already. But Maresca has come out with his chest, basically not screaming, but but really telling the brass, like, I need another centre back, because this role that I use in my system, none of the other centre backs can play. And maybe putting Josh Achiampong in that role today was a bit of a message to the brass. Do you know what I mean? Being like, look, without Tosin, who missed the game because he had a knock, and without Levi Colwill for the rest of the season, Josh Achiampong's the only other guy that can come in and play this role. Now, Josh Achiampong was good today. Do you know what I mean? He was definitely good. But what I guess we don't really know enough about yet is, did he play that Maresca Levi Colwill role as well as we need him to? I'm not absolutely, like, you can't blame Achiampong for us not winning the game at all. But had we had a Levi Colwill or a Tosin, would those passes in that position have generated more attacks and allowed us to be on the front foot a little bit more? So I will be I've started recording this literally the instant the game finished, so I haven't seen none of the presses or anything. I'll be interested to see what Maresca's got to say about that role, and how we think Josh Achiampong did. Ultimately, you do see it from Josh Achiampong. Like, he makes runs when he gets the ball and tries to drive forward, and there was a lot of side passing from the centre backs today, though, man. A lot of side passing. That, I don't know if that's a thing that Maresca is pushing in particular, but especially towards the end of the game where we were desperate for a goal, man. Real shame. Trevor Chalobah, Trevor Chalobah's good, man. Trevor Chalobah did a good job today. A couple of times tried really, like, good long diagonal passes over to the right hand side, because he was playing on that left hand of the back three, to try and find people like Pedro Neto. Trevor Chalobah is a good player, definitely, especially without Levi Colwill. Do you know what I mean? He's going to get a lot of game time. And although he may not be the perfect option for that kind of central passing, deep-lying centre-back playmaker that Maresca's looking for, you can guarantee that should he stay fit, Chalobah's going to get a lot of games this season. Cucurella was good as well. Really advanced attacking positions from Cucurella today. He was, obviously left back, but literally was, it was a back three with Trevor Chalobah covering the left of that, and Cucurella more often than not found himself in an advanced number 8 or a 10 kind of position, occasionally up on the byline trying to get things to go inside as well. Good performance from Cucurella. Cucurella can win a game sometimes with a goal or a line splitting pass or an important run or something. We didn't get any of that today, but no, Cucurella did really good, and we're just going to see him play for all the time, aren't we? 100%. Midfield, Moise Caicedo was great today. He was really good at screening that back line, and what I will say is, I don't think we saw as much attacking intention from Moise Caicedo as usual, and that might be because Josh Achiampong was covering that centre role, right? I think if we'd have had maybe a more confident person in that position, like your Tosin or like your Colwill, Moise Caicedo might have felt more comfortable, or maybe this was the instruction to kind of get forward and get involved with the attack a little bit more. He did try a few things occasionally, but nothing audacious, and not as much as he usually does. But what he was doing is dropping into that, almost making it a back four quite a lot. Do you know what I mean? There was a lot of side-to-side passing between Achiampong and Moise Caicedo. He was definitely screening the back line today, playing a really defensive number 6 role, which he did pretty well for the most part. Enzo Fernandez, I don't know. I've talked about Enzo Fernandez a few times. Enzo Fernandez can kind of pop up out of nowhere and make something happen, get an assist or something like that. But bit of a passenger today, potentially. Didn't play badly at all. Was definitely not like at fault for us, not doing as well as we wanted to. But didn't offer that thing that you can see sometimes with Enzo Fernandez, where he can arrive late in the box and get a goal, or he can a big looping long pass to connect him with someone like a Cole Palmer or something like that. So yeah, shame about Enzo Fernandez, and André Santos came on for him later in the game, which I think was a good indication that you're going to see Santos play that kind of role. Would have been nice to have seen a bit more from Enzo Fernandez today, but he didn't do badly by any stretch of the imagination. Cole Palmer, right? Let's talk about Cole Palmer today. So the performance of Cole Palmer was two things, right? It was 100% getting marked out of the game, man. Like, he was really struggling to get a foothold in this game at all. He played the entire 90 minutes. And everything just kept going wide, do you know what I mean? Because they really compacted the middle of the pitch, and especially when we got into the defensive zones. Cole Palmer spent a lot of time in the middle and on the right in the first half. In the second half, he kind of was trying his luck with the left and seeing if he could make something happen from over there. But just found it, and towards the end of the game especially as well, he was dropping deep and trying to, get the ball himself, and, right in the dying minutes, he just held on to the ball for like sort of 30 seconds or something, where he was just desperately looking for something that he could do, try and push forward. But Palace's structure, they were just so good today, man. And one of the fallouts of that for us was that Cole Palmer really, really struggled to get into the game. The other thing is, if I'm being completely honest, just from the eye test, lots of little wayward passes from Cole Palmer today. When he got the ball, he was trying to make something happen quickly, but a lot of the time he was making these short passes and they were going straight into the feet of Palace players. That must be really frustrating. Like I say, he was often surrounded, do you know what I mean? So even when he was getting the ball, like, he was really, really limited for options. He was getting more joy when he was dropping deep, but obviously then, you've got to make something happen and find someone else, and they made that really difficult for us. Not an amazing game from Cole Palmer today. The free kick was not great, do you know what I mean? I think Reece James probably should have taken that one, but at the end of the day, he looks frustrated, which is a good thing. Do you know what I mean? It's not like he's like, oh no, I'm just doing really badly at the moment. Like, he's looking frustrated. He's trying to get himself into the game. He's throwing his hands up in the air when there's an obvious ball to him that someone hasn't put in or something. Do you know what I mean? So difficult, especially seeing as Cole Palmer's been so good recently. In the commentary, they mentioned that Cole Palmer hasn't scored a goal in the Premier League since January, man. That's mad, isn't it? Obviously, I know we've just had all the summer and that, and we're away at the Club World Cup for a lot of it. But at the same time, it's like he needs to find that Premier League form again. Do you know what I mean? He's definitely up there in general. We've seen a lot of really good things from Cole Palmer recently to say, okay, things probably aren't going to be that bad. But you will feel that Cole Palmer will come out of this game being a bit frustrated with himself as well. Right wing, Pedro Neto, yeah, good game, man, good game. Like, I've said this a few times, I'm a massive advocate of Pedro Neto. My starting lineup had Willian starting on the right and Pedro Neto on the left, which is what we did see later in the game. Pedro Neto was getting a lot of the ball, man, especially in the first half, and, he was just finding it difficult to find people to make things happen. Like I say, Cole Palmer was very often being marked out of the game. Pedro Neto was getting a lot of the ball when he tried cutting in, didn't try shooting very often. But yeah, man, I ain't got much negative to say about Pedro Neto, do you know what I mean? Everyone could have done more today, do you know what I mean? Everyone could have done more, but Pedro Neto isn't exactly always the guy you expect to get a goal or an assist from, but he played his role pretty well. Jamie Gittins didn't spend much time on the ball, man. Do you know what I mean? To be honest, like, it was definitely being favoured over on the right-hand side again, 100%. But when he was getting the ball, he was running past people and trying to make things happen. But it was just like Palace had a million men in the box, do you know what I mean? And Jamie Gittins was normally getting the ball in really high positions up that byline, do you know what I mean? So by the time Jamie Gittins was getting the ball, there was already 10 men. Do you know what I mean? He turned around with the ball and there'd be 10 men in front of him. And yeah, so really difficult. Although I didn't necessarily feel it was as lackluster a performance. I say lackluster, that's a bit harsh, man. He wasn't bad in it, but the AC Milan game, do you know what I mean? I actually thought he played a bit better than that today, and maybe that's a good thing. And we're gonna see good stuff from Jamie Gittins, man. I believe that 100%. He's miles and miles ahead of Mykhailo Mudryk. I'm pretty sure he's going to end up being better than Jadon Sancho is, because he's kind of better at taking on his man, and that really, really suits the Maresca system, right? And obviously he's still really new. That's another thing as well. The players have only been back from the Club World Cup for the last 10 days training. Jamie Gittins is really new. It's going to take him a while to bed into this role for sure, which is why I kind of initially thought, okay, let's start with Willian and Neto on the left. But not enough from Jamie Gittins today, but that's the same story for everyone, isn't it? João Pedro up top was another really disappointing story, man. Obviously, you had to start João Pedro up top, didn't you? Don't get me wrong. I know Liam Delap scored 2 goals in the AC Milan game, but João Pedro's sample size of the last 5 games that he played, and he scored 5 goals, and he's looked really, really good in lots of different ways, like scoring that header and scoring that long range goal in the Club World Cup, and dropping deep and connecting with people and all of that really, really cool kind of stuff. But he was, again, just him and Cole Palmer were like absolutely just played out of the game today. Do you know what I mean? Cole Palmer definitely managed to achieve more than João Pedro did. João Pedro just looked like a bit of a ghost, man. He just looked like he was really, really struggling to get on the end of the ball. He was really struggling to make things happen when he had it as well, which wasn't very often. He really didn't get on the ball that much at all today. So Crystal Palace did a really good job of keeping João Pedro out of the game. So there's not a lot to say about him. I guess it's just one of those, isn't it? We are going to come up against a lot of low blocks, man. Do you know what I mean? We're probably and the thing is, if anything, that game today, for anyone else watching, is like a blueprint, isn't it? It's like, oh, how'd you beat Chelsea? 5 at the back, put everyone in the box and they won't be able to score. So no doubt we are going to see a lot of that this season in general. Subs, Esteval Willian came on in the 68th minute, something like that, and was replaced Jamie Gittins. He went on the right-hand side, Neto moved over to the left. That was my starting lineup then on the pitch. Within the first 2 or 3 minutes, Esteval Willian nearly made something happen. He beat his man, got a really good-looking cross in, just a little bit too high for the likes of Pedro Neto to get his head on, but it was instantly looking like, oh, okay, maybe this is going to be it now. He's going to open things up a little bit. Really, again, kind of struggled to get into the game. What I do like about Esteval Willian compared to what you see from a lot of our other players is he does not spend a lot of time making he's a quick decision maker. Sorry, that sounded negative the other way I was going to say it. He is a very, very quick decision maker. If the ball comes to him, even if he's going to pass it back or pass it to the side, he does it really, really quickly. And it's like he's made his decision about what he's going to do next before the ball comes to him. And I think we need to see a bit more of that from the rest of the team as well. He tried, he had he drove in from the right-hand side into the middle and had a shot at one point as well. Esteval Willian, maybe if we'd had him from the start and he'd have had a bit more time to get into the game, maybe things would have been different. It's a lot of pressure to put on an 18-year-old though, isn't it? But Esteval actually had one of the better showings today, I guess, although albeit in a much shorter sample size and time frame. Who else? We had Santos came on for... Santos. I forgot about that. Santos came on for Enzo Fernandez and absolutely ruined what was probably our best chance in the entire game. It was like the 93rd, 94th minute, something really, really, really late in the game. We were just starting to get some tempo. Really great little passing move, and it came to Andre Santos, and he had a really good opportunity to either shoot or pass to Cole Palmer. He chose to shoot. He shot with his weaker left foot and just absolutely skied it, man. That was a real shame. Gusto came on for Reece James as well, and mate, Gusto, someone needs to grab Gusto by the scruff of the neck and say, stop shooting. You're rubbish at shooting. And shooting in that moment, in that game when we need to win, is absolutely not what you need to do. Guys never scored a goal for Chelsea. I don't know, Leo, I think he was before. Got no idea if he managed to score very much over there. But the amount of times we have seen Malo Gusto get the ball and just randomly go, yeah, right, why not? Like that's fine if you've got some sort of history of being good at it, but not in this moment, not in this game, and kind of never. Do you know what I mean? If we're already winning, yeah, wicked. Use your opportunity then to improve your shooting ability and shooting stats. But mate, Gusto just needs to stop shooting, man. And then Delap came on for João Pedro, and again I've mentioned it a few times, and we kind of saw it again in this game as well. Delap offers something really, really different to João Pedro. They are two very different types of strikers, and Liam Delap is probably the kind of striker that you want for this very, very, very stodgy defensive kind of game. Do you know what I mean? Because he's a bit of a brute and a bully, and he had our first shot on target in the second half, and this was like the 80-something minute. Do you know what I mean? And it's a shame he didn't get enough power on it, but the way he got to it was good. It went over the top of him and a defender. He kind of dummied the defender, got on the ball, had a shot, wicked. Do you know what I mean? Fair play. Shame that, again, a bit more power or maybe an opportunity to look for someone in the box as well, but ultimately Liam Delap showed what he can do that João Pedro can't do. Now, I still think that João Pedro is going to have a better season overall than Liam Delap, but in these games where it's stodgy and we need like a bit of a bully and a bit of a brute, you can see that Liam Delap is going to come on and play that role really well. And maybe he's earned himself a start in the next game, do you know what I mean? Because he played really well in the AC Milan game, and he had a better showing in like 15-20 minutes today than João Pedro did, to be fair. So interesting to see what happens with Liam Delap. So that's it, guys. Like I say, man, I'm a bit disappointed in my first match review of a Premier League game, and it is a one-pointer. Every point is going to be important. Look at the back end of last season, man. Do you know what I mean? Right down to the wire. That extra point or two, or a couple of these extra points will make the difference at the end of the season for sure. So we just got to hope that we go again better next time, right? Nice one, guys. I'm going to wrap the video up there. I hope you all have had a wicked day. I hope you enjoyed the game, even though for me it was really, really frustrating to watch. But I would love to know what you think about the game. Did you see any positives that I haven't talked about? Did you see any negatives that I haven't talked about? Do you think that this is like symptomatic of... There's been a break. It's the start of the season. We've got new players. It's going to take a little while to get rolling. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, I guess the reason it's difficult, right, is because we've just come from like up here, winning trophies and beating the champions of Europe and in a cup final, and obviously having a great preseason. And everyone was starting to look good, weren't they? But at the end of the day, man, this is why the Premier League is so good, and this is why it can be so difficult, because any team in the league can do this to us on a given day. Do you know what I mean? It's like you can have a terrible showing. We lost to Ipswich twice last season. Do you know what I mean? This sort of thing can just happen. So That's it, guys. I'm going to tune out now. Nice one. Have a wicked day. I'll catch up with you soon. Take it easy. Peace.